If your footage looks like a corporate video, when you want it to feel like a movie, then this is for you. I have been creating content here in Eket, Nigeria, working with pretty basic gear. A Canon M50 that is most efficient at 1080p, an iPhone 11, and some budget lighting that honestly barely gets the job done. And I'll be real with you, my footage looks and feels way too digital. I actually needed something that can help me create a film-like look while saving me both time and money. And in the course of my research, that's when I found Dehancer. I've been using Dehancer for a while now on my Windows system with DaVinci Resolve, and it has been a game changer. When I recently switched to this M4 MacBook Air, I had to test Dehancer in Final Cut Pro. Now this video is not a sponsored video. I personally reached out to the Dehancer team asking for a collaboration to test out the M4 MacBook Air. And here's what I love. They insist to say it as it is, no sugarcoating. So anything you hear and see is my actual opinion. I'm not trying to persuade you to go get Dehancer right away, even though I do have a discount code I'm going to be putting on the screen. But here's what I'm going to say. It is a game changer, and if you can afford it, you definitely should be using it. Also, this is not a review of Dehancer. I am no pro colorist. I am just showing fellow upcoming to pro filmmakers a tool that can make your filmmaking journey so much easier. I mean, most of us simply couldn't afford the film aesthetic, but with Dehancer, your footage can very easily go from looking basic to cinematic. Alright, so here in Final Cut, drag your clip down into your timeline. And if you don't already have Dehancer installed, I'll leave a link in the description for you. So go ahead, open the link, go to the website, download Dehancer and install it. When you're done with that step, you drag your clip down to the timeline. And there are two things you can do from this point. First thing is to do your basic color correction. Now, with Dehancer, you don't necessarily need to do this. You can literally get a decent look within 5 minutes directly from Dehancer. But if you feel like doing your touch-ups and color corrections first, then sure, go ahead. Now, this clip was shot on my iPhone 11 and it wasn't shot in log. So what I would like to do is make it look as flat as possible before moving on to Dehancer. Now, this is my own personal opinion. You can do it your own way. Make it to your taste. So for me, the first thing I'm going to do is to come up to color corrections. Alright, so I think I'm okay with this for now. I'm just going to head over to Dehancer and then maybe I can come back and have some adjustments if necessary. So you go to your effects tab, you should find Dehancer under Film Emulation. Go ahead, drag and drop it on your clip. If you don't want to do it this way, let's assume you have like a couple clips on your timeline. You can hit Option A, have your adjustments clip on there, and then you can do most of your gradings and color corrections from the adjustments clip without affecting the actual clip itself. Well, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and do it directly so I can show you what Dehancer is all about. Now, as you can see, right off the bat, it looks different. And the reason it looks this way is because Dehancer comes with some of the parameters pre-enabled. Now, there are also ways to go about this depending on the person. For me, I'm used to this now, but when you're just starting out with Dehancer, I advise you take out time to disable every single one of them so you can literally just start from the top. But in my case, I'm just going to start from the top. So you have the first tab here, which is input, and it is set to Rec 709 by default. Now, this is the good thing about Dehancer. You can do your conversions right here from any log profiles or camera types or whatever, and it does a really good job at converting your file format. So for me, I'm going to come here and select choose camera. And then for vendor, I used an iPhone, so I'll go with Apple. It's given me an iPhone by default and selected Apple log for me, which I'm going to change. I find that when shooting on my iPhone 11 without the log profile, this Filmmaker Pro HLG 10-bit seems to work the best. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And you can see the difference already. It's already looking rich, already looking dramatic, and you can literally just pick it from here and do whatever you want to do. But I mean, let's keep going. So right after that, you have the exposure compensation, temperature, and tint. Before you do any adjustments here, go ahead and enable this so that whatever you do here can be affected. So I think that's okay for that. Then this is where the magic happens, your film emulation. Right now it's set to Kodak Vision 3 250D, and when you click this, there you go. There's a whole lot of film emulations. There's a whole lot. Now, depending on the project or depending on your style, take your time and go through all of this, and you can just like find what really suits you. You have CineStyle 50D, you have Fuji Color 100, you have a whole lot of Kodak profiles. Kodak Portra 400. I think we have Kodak Gold somewhere. Yeah, Kodak Gold 200. So literally just, try out different film looks and profiles until you get the one that suits you. For this particular project, I think I'll come back to this Agfa Color 100. Yeah. And then you have Film Developer next. Then you have File Compression. Well, again, just play with this and, feel it. And whatever looks good to you or works for you or your style of, color grading and your project, you just go with that. And then we come to print. Now, good. So it's set to linear, the profile. You can also come here and there's Cinelog film, there's Fujifilm, there's Kodak 2383 prints, and then there's Kodak Endura glossy paper. Now I'm mostly drawn to the glossy paper, Kodak Endura glossy paper profile. So again, whatever works for you, you just kind of, lean with that. So now this has given my clip a whole lot of depth. Adjust it to your taste. Then you come over to color head. Now this is where you can create your own look if you're into something like that. So basically, again, before we start, enable this so that everything you touch on this tab can be active. So now you can, on these sliders, decide if you want your clip to go blue or yellow, magenta or green, cyan or red, or you can, mix and match to get a certain look you want. It's up to you. You can play with this as much as you want and get the kind of look you want. So when it comes to the shadows, you can either go warm or you can go cold. Then for the midtones, I'm just probably going to go a little cold at 6. And for the highlights tone, maybe cold as well. Let me see how's warm. What does it look like going cold? I think I'm just going to go cold. And then here is the film grain. This is what gives you that subtle film-like, nostalgic feel with your looks. So you can toggle this off and have it clean and crisp if you want to have that very sharp looking, footage. But if you want to make it look vintage, then of course, go ahead and enable the film grain. Now, for me, I feel like this is a little much for my clip. So there are many options here. You have 8mm on ISO 50. You have 8mm on ISO 250. Now, if I go ahead and go on the 8mm, you can actually see a lot more noise will be introduced. You can see that there's the whole lot of noise has been introduced now at ISO 500 8mm. But then you can also go 35, which looks decent. You can go 16 if you want it, kind of in between those two. But for me and this particular project, I think I'm just going to do 65mm on ISO 50. Okay, that looks pretty clean. So I'm just going to go 250. I'll take that. All right, then we have halation. So go ahead and enable this. Let's go into mask mode. Oh, that's taking a toll on my system right there. Oof. It's one of the reasons I wanted to test Dehancer on the M4 MacBook Air to see how it actually performs with this kind of heavy grading, going on. Now, this was quite a struggle on my Windows PC, I'm not gonna lie, but it's actually pretty decent here for the most part. So, all right, again, mask mode. So the red, this is kind of showing you what the halation is doing, where it's most active. So take note of that, and then we're going to shift this off. So as you can see right here, you can find a whole lot of halation there. So if I turn this off, you can see how that looks. And then if I turn it on, you can see how much it actually affects this hot spots right here. And then you have bloom here. So let's go ahead and enable bloom. This gives like the dreamy vibes to the highlights. So if you're into something like that, I'm just going to go with same 65-70mm for my bloom if I want to use it at all on this clip. And I think that's acceptable for me and my type of look that I'm trying to get. So yeah, then basically this is done. To be honest with you, this right here is done. Yeah, that's taking a toll on my system. Don't mind the lags. If I go ahead and render this, I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but let's just see. Okay, before I go ahead and render this, let me just show you the rest of what you can get out of Dehancer. So you have film damage over here. Now, when you toggle this on, you can see a little bit of speck on the screen. Let me see if it's going to. All right, let's go to 8mm. So probably it's going to be a lot more. Yeah, you can see right there. You can see right there. Yeah, scattered all over the place. So if you're trying to get that film damage look in your project, Dehancer has you covered. I wouldn't do 8mm on this particular project, but I mean, if you're trying to do like a throwback 1960s type thing, then that works perfectly fine. But I don't think I want to use that for this particular project. But I mean, you have film breadth, you have gate weave, and then you have overscan. Now, overscan, let me show you what it looks like. Boom, that's it right there. You can have this style. You have standard 16mm. You have ultra 16mm. Then we have widescreen 35. Yeah, this is pretty cool too for like throwbacks and stuff, picture slides if you want to do, you know, any projects or something like that. They have ultra Panavision 65mm. Yeah, this is cool too. Yeah, so there's other stuff here you can adjust. I mean, like I said, with Dehancer, it's just about you playing around till you find your perfect look, your perfect fits, you know, and then this whole thing can take you like 5 minutes once you're used to the parameters and your looks, you get what I'm saying? All right, and then the last thing you can do here is vignettes. So go ahead and enable that, and you can see it's already affecting the clip. You can go dark, you know, the size, adjustments, feather, you know, so you can go white, you can go dark. I don't want to use it in this project, so I'm just going to disable it. And then I think this is slot generator for those of you that would want to create your own looks. With that said, as you can see with Dehancer, you can literally create a beautiful film-like look within 5 minutes. Once you're used to it and understand the parameters and have your looks, you know, locked in, I mean, this is something you can actually achieve and roll out like multiple projects, and people would not know that, you know, it's actually that simple to pull off. So yeah, let me know your thoughts though. Let me know what you think about the entire process and Dehancer. Is this something you would actually be interested in? Is it something you feel can make your workflow easier? Personally, I would never stop using this. I really love it. It makes things simple for me. I love the film-like looks. I love creating like short films and stuff like that in my spare time. And I don't think I want to spend a whole lot of time trying to generate these looks manually, or going into like color grading tutorials and, you know, all that crazy stuff. With this, a few sliders here and there, and you have the look you want. So, I mean, the downside for me would actually be the cost of it. It's pretty pricey. I know, I understand most people won't find it an easy purchase, but then it's a one-time purchase. I mean, you buy it once and it's yours for life. So I guess you kind of have to weigh the pros and the cons. Now, another con for me would be its weight. It's pretty hefty in terms of like how much it uses from your system. As you can see, you know, this is the latest M4 MacBook Air, and I mean, it's not the maxed out spec or anything, but still you can see it struggle. You wouldn't have this problem if you're using one of the higher end devices anyways, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a pretty heavy plugin to use. Now for the pros, there's so many things in Dehancer you would usually be paying for as standalone plugins, like halation, film grain, all the film profiles they have on here, over 60 of them. I mean, when you check that value, it really adds up. And to be honest, the fact that it's very simplified, easy to use, and one of the best in the game. There's few plugins you would check side by side with Dehancer, and you know, Dehancer would not be either almost the same or better in terms of the conversion from your film profiles, from your camera profiles, like your logs and the rest, and the type of camera you use and all of that. It really works well with color profiles and the conversion. So that's a really good plus. And then of course, every other thing I've mentioned. So yeah, I would just say I recommend you get this if you can afford it. It's really life-changing and time-saving. So if you're someone that does this a lot and you're trying to kick off as a filmmaker and you want to invest a lot of time and money into this, then really, you should consider it. I'm not being paid to say this. I am only giving you my honest opinion. And if you do want to get one, if you're interested, use the code on the screen right now so you can get a discount when you do get it. And before I forget, if you're working off your phones like an iPhone, for instance, Dehancer actually has an app in the App Store you can download that gives you access to these film profiles and a lot of these editing tools. So you can literally get these looks on the go, either on your pictures or on your videos. So yeah, I think that's really good value for those of us that work both on our phones and on our laptops, and for those that are primarily on their phones. So at least that option is there. And for Android users, there's also Dehancer Online, which I've covered before in one of my previous videos, where you can also have access to these film looks. So yeah, it's pretty rounded and well thought of. But yeah, generally, what do you think? From everything you've seen, is this something you would consider? Is it something you would consider but can't afford? Or is it something you just don't like even if you can afford it? Let me know in the comments. I would like to know your thoughts on this. Is it something you see yourself using on every project, or is it something you feel you would use only once in a while? Again, I would really like to know your thoughts in the comments. So ask any questions. If you want to know how to install Dehancer or something, if you want to know how to download it, if you have any issues, go ahead and drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. Thank you for your time. Till we see you again. Bye bye.